Hello, very beautiful community. We are going to talk Trump sane washing today because we are, as an expert community, sane washing Trump on what he said about running Venezuela, and we're sane washing him on why he wants Greenland. And let's do this in a fun way, which is actually going to be easier for me for health reasons, but it's also going to be curious and more immediate for you. When I speak with you, beautiful community, I'm completely authentic. But I do have a scaffolding around me of being a very infinitesimal public intellectual. That's to say, when I speak, a lot of the time, I am thinking, is what I'm putting into your tummy healthy or not? How can I make it more healthy? If I'm getting something wrong there, how do I improve? I'm thinking, am I doing something that's a good contribution to your relationship with truthfulness or a bad contribution? I'm doing something that I want to be very emotional, but not emotionally directive, right? I don't want you to get worked up, take a single commitment, and then race off. If you do that, that should be your doing. I shouldn't be sending you there, right? And likewise, I want to slow you down and be very mean and very demanding and annoying with you intellectually. But I'm not, in the first or second or third or fourth instance, interested in you thinking what I think is the right thing to think. Because it doesn't work like that, because you should work out for yourself what the right thing to think is. And that's one of the things that's so exciting and thrilling about being with you, that I'm exploring how to connect, how to engage, and how to contribute all the time, and getting it wrong all the time, and improving all the time, and learning all the time, and growing all the time. And one of the most gratifying things in the world is when you're going through very big challenges like I am with my health challenge in life, if you're still able to contribute and you're still able to grow, it's a very magical thing. But I'm going to take all of that scaffolding and I'm going to put it down, and then I'm going to just pretend for 5 minutes to speak to you like I'm fuzzy and I'm not well, and I'm just having my morning coffee with you, which is itself rare because I have no ability to travel at the moment, even much outside my building, and I don't really have visitors for health reasons. But imagine, except rarely, the special occasion. So imagine the special occasion, we're having a 1 hour long coffee together, and I've rolled up in my wheelchair, I've got my decaf coffee, of which I'm allowed 2 sips per day, because more is microvascularly bad. And I want to talk to you just for 5 minutes about Trump and how we sane wash him, but as Vlad. And what you're also going to see is the congruence between the private Vlad and how I speak to the multiplicity that's you, the beautiful community. So let's do this. It's shocking how we're all speaking about Trump. Is ludicrous and it's shocking. When he says that he wants to run Venezuela, it doesn't mean anything about what happens in Venezuela by that. He just filters what is the best thing for him to say that'll advantage him and it'll feed his narcissistic supply. The filters are all about what's the best sayable thing. That's it. And all of these behind him, they're shocked. They're not surprised, because they often get shocked, but they're shocked because they don't know what the hell he's talking about. And then off everybody goes analyzing what he means by that, when he doesn't mean anything by it. And we're all doing it, right? We're all getting the piss taken out of us by Trump, because he's sending us in a direction where he knows there is nothing there. We're all going there. In Bremer's going there, Rory Stewart's going there. I did the same in my last video on the main channel, which nobody watched because I'm sick and not there enough. So I'm stuck in the algorithm. I said it's magical thinking for Trump to talk about running Venezuela, because you don't remove the regime by removing Maduro, and because Trump hasn't had and will never have any thoughts about the connection of removing the regime and removing the state. How much of the regime can you remove while still keeping a functional state? None of these thoughts are interesting to Trump, and he's not going to have them. And that wasn't about what's to be done in Venezuela. It's about what words are going to service me most in this moment. That's it. And then having put that on the table, he needs to define it somehow. But we're going around analyzing what the meaning behind it is. And there isn't any. And it's the same with Greenland. You got the post-truth justifications, which we don't buy. But then we're thinking, what's behind it? And we're writing essays about it. We're visiting each other's podcasts. And he just likes the size. That's the main reason he wants it. And here I'm going to break character a bit and stop being just Vlad gossiping over a coffee and say that there is the personality disorder, and then there is also a couple of arguments I make about neurodiversity is plural with Trump. I won't define all of that, and in a private conversation I'd refer casually to it and give it a label. So instead of that, I'll just say this. For the reason of his personality disorder and also how his narcissistic personality disorder interacts with his neurodiversities, he's stuck on the size thing. So, back in character now. When he's 7, he looks at a map and he likes the size. And the map distorts the size and he likes that even more. That's it. So that's where he is at 7, and that's where he is at 17, that's where he is at 87. And it's not that there's nothing behind it, it's that he can't move off that. And it's not that he can't move off that into an analysis of why he wants Greenland. He can't even move off size onto some other fixation, like population size or the size of the economy. It's size. He can't do 5 years on size and then move and do 5 years on population size or economy size. No, it's size, and he's stuck with that. The way he's stuck with food or where he needs to sleep. Because people think he's just got bad taste, and that's not true. He actually has to have the same meal over and over and over again. And so he's stuck with size over and over and over again. It's a big factor with Russia too. He loves the size. And the weakness of the Russian economy, the fact that Russia is depopulating, that's not relevant. It's the size. So he's feeling, if I got it, how am I going to feel about saying that I got it and it's got a big size? That's the main reason. Right? That's the level of shit that we're in. That's us. That's us. That's our politics. Right? And the expert community is doing twirlies around this. And I did a twirly about it on the main channel. But that's Trump taking the piss out of us. Right? We're all going somewhere where there's nothing to find. And it's embarrassing. It's, again, humans ludicrously victimized by their own expertise. And so that's what happens when bad shit happens in politics, you know? It generates other bad shit, which generates other bad shit. There's a kind of really shocking degradation, right? Because Trump's so degraded, he degrades the expert community, even if you talk about the most intelligent and well-intentioned ones. So, I don't know. I think with my community, what I'm going to do is just keep it at 7-year-old level, where he's stuck at 7-year-old level. And I'm not going to allow us to build an adult picture where there isn't any. So, Yeah. One last sip, and I'll be back. So, my friend, it was nice to rave at you like a lunatic about Trump. I'm just going to go and speak to my beautiful community now. Hello, beautiful community. So, maybe that didn't work so well because I still sounded like I'm speaking to you. I don't know. But I wanted to blast us a little bit into that kind of more immediate point, like, what the hell are we doing here? What the hell are we talking about? Because we've got the most powerful person in the world liking the size. That is one of the central geopolitical forces on the planet. That somebody with a huge narcissistic challenge likes the size, and that's affecting all of our lives. It's affecting the survival of NATO, which is anyway expiring, but it's expiring over time, right? So we've got to think of, this is my speaking to the beautiful community hat is back on. What you want to do is not jump off the NATO ship, but stay as strongly as you can on the NATO ship while building a second ship to which you can then move. But you don't jump into the sea and give up on NATO until you have something to step over into. But yeah, we're at the whims of that kind of ludicrousness. And the fact that we're not saying that straightforwardly enough is itself an expression of ludicrousness. So it's important to not get ludicrously victimized by our own expertise here and say that if we're seeing adult things in the political world, and Putin's behaving in a very adult way, he is traumatized, he is highly neurotic, he is terribly paranoid, he is quite frankly not well from a psychic health point of view. That's not to diagnose him with any psychiatric condition. I don't believe he has any. But he's not doing well, right? Nobody would do well in his position, but he's not doing well. But his relationship with Ukraine is a form of unlovely adult destructiveness. But some things are not that. And Trump, I like the size, is an example of an adult with more power than any other adult approaching the entire world with a child's conception of human capabilities. Lots of love. Talk very soon.